Okay, brothers and sisters, we're back, and we are going to talk about... I didn't switch out my stool. Jeff, talk about what we're going to do while I switch out my stool.
Okay, while Lance switches out
the stool I sit on. I mean, a chair.
Wait, what?
Not stool. Stool means different things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The one I sit on doesn't exactly
you mean that
quantify either of
we
them.
don't have to call in the orderly for this one?
No.
Okay.
No fecal transplant.
All right. Wow, so you decided to turn on the recording before you had your situation situated, is what you're trying to say. Which is fine.
Before I did what I said I was going to do before, which was the reason we took a break.
Sure.
And then we started talking about a bunch of bullshit.
Right. So you wanted to get that.
I'm cool. I don't know if anybody hears the chair that I sat in.
Stool retrieving action.
I thought it was loud, so now I've got a stool.
Anyway, yeah, we're a little bit drunker than we were when we turned it off, which is fine because I think that we needed to be. We need to be a little bit more loose. I mean, it's Mardi Gras after all anyway, or it was.
I ate a sugar brownie.
I'm
going to get paranoid here in a sec.
That makes sense.
So, we are now going to roll into the second and final week of Carnival, and it's going to be pretty cool because Skooks and I were both at the Knicks parade on Wednesday night.
Yeah, so we wanted to do 2 of these shows where we recapped the first week and then came back and went into the second week, and it wouldn't feel as long as this show is feeling, I think. But so this is where after you come out of that first weekend of Carnival and you understand, you're back into doing it. Like you have your training is all in. Like you've done, you're able to go out and not
got your sea legs.
Yeah, you're not getting hungover when you get up in the morning every day.
Oh wait, I speak for yourself there.
Tolerance is back up. You're able to stand for long periods at a time. You're feeling good.
Your bro resistance is elevated.
Your tolerance of everyone. You're starting to commune with humanity, which
Chads and Courtneys.
Everybody is welcome. Actually, the great thing about it is you're going outside to meet people. Like you're going outside to. It's the ultimate. Why don't you get off the computer or go outside? Just go outside.
Well, everybody needs to do that.
But there's like stuff to do out there. Like you can actually stand around on the corner and drink, and there's no one's going to judge you.
You can do that anytime. Like when we went to see the Fun 40 Fellows, we were just standing around drinking on the neutral ground most of the time, and you can do that anytime. In fact, I think on Claiborne Avenue they do that all the time.
Right.
And I think on Whitney over there in Algiers Point, they do that all the time.
But for those of us who kind of feel
it's like there's a parade, but there's no parade.
But if you need an excuse, or if you're a starter, like your starter kit of like just drinking out on the neutral ground.
It's a starter drug. Pretty soon, one day, you're out there and there's no parades.
Right.
That might be you one day, Jeff.
When I retire...
Just be Jeff out there drinking on the neutral ground.
Right. When I get kicked out of, or when the rent gets too damn high and I go to live under the bridge, I will spend half my day drinking on the neutral ground. And then the rest of the time.
So anyway. You liked Druids.
Okay, yeah. So Wednesday was the night of Druids and Knicks. And Knicks is the event that everybody was waiting for because they had that day proclaimed themselves a Superkrewe. Yes. And everyone wanted to see what that was like.
Didn't seem like a Superkrewe.
Well,
Druids fucked with them a little bit at the end of their parade.
Yeah, so it's Druids and Knicks night is Wednesday. And Druids is a parade that has drawn a lot of attention from people for being one of the more right-wing parades.
Alli hates them.
Alli doesn't care for them. I gotta
give a shout-out to Alli, who hates them.
Right.
She named them as one of the ones she hates.
Well, they have I think last year they ran the one about, they had some kind of a food stamp themed float or something like that.
Sounds like a terrible idea. How about no? Food stamp themed.
I don't know. I kind of I feel like I like, one of the things I like about Mardi Gras is that all these clubs that are like run by these like rich, wealthy segments of society, they get out and they put on parade just how big of assholes they actually are.
They tell you who they are in grandiose form.
I appreciate that. I like it when they do that.
Yeah.
And again, it's part of the pageant of just like New Orleans presenting itself, like warts and all. You know, I don't have to like think they're not assholes, but I also have to, you know, I'm not going to say let's run them off the streets for that. But anyway, I liked Druids this year. It was one of my, for the first weekend anyway, it was one of my favorite parades. I'm looking at the list now, and it's...
Okay, it came in at?
The final list, they only came in at 10.
Okay, well, still pretty good.
But I think at the time that I put them on the list, and I updated the list as the parades happened, I think they were number 1 when they got to the list. So by this point in the season, they were the best parade.
So they were like that little college team, like TCU, that somehow in like the third week ends up number 1, and then... All right, they dropped to number 10 at the end.
That's nice. Exactly right.
Good job, Druids.
What they did, and you said you didn't really remember them very well. So
you know what? Now that we're sort of like putting ourselves in the moment, I remember they had snarky little floats, like blue float,
right.
dragon float, or whatever they were.
So they did this thing.
And then there was a Cartman float out of nowhere.
Right. So they did this thing where, because they knew that everyone was out there looking to pick apart their shit, their theme of their parade was Druids Behave. And so we're going to behave, y'all. And they run like a float that is mostly colored blue. And the title of the float is Blue Float. And then they follow that with like a red float. And then a float with some arches on it. So it's the arch float. Right.
I remember that one, yeah.
So they're just being very plain with their shit. And
then there was a Cartman float that said, screw this.
Right. It said, fuck this, or whatever you might want to interpret from the...
And Alli surmised that they were going to start being assholes again after that. And then instead of doing that, which would have been a pretty cool swerve, Alli's words also. It's like she's here with us tonight.
It almost always is.
They just went back to doing the generic floats again, which I thought was lame.
No, but that's not what it's not what happened.
It is. They went back to
they did a couple of floats that almost went across the line. Actually, they did one about there being did one float called the Native American float, where it depicted a Native American, and the whole point of writing it that way was them saying, "Oh, we have to write in this politically correct language."
Okay, and then
because we would like to write Indian float or whatever. And after that came the Native American hater float, which was
Andrew Jackson.
Right. So that was one of their monument comments. So they had to make an obligatory monument comment, and then there was another obligatory monument comment after that, and they finished it with a float that said that had some digs at Nix on it. One was one of those signs on it said Nix is the Mardi Gras self-proclaimed Superkrewe. Like it was written on the Druids float as they passed by.
Right.
So they did get in their little dig.
I appreciated that one at least.
You did.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to call yourself a Superkrewe. It's. I guess it's dumb either way. To even worry about it is probably a little dumb.
I think they kind of walked into that, and I don't think it matters. But the reason they did that is because they have an enormous membership. They have like 2,200, 2,500 people.
Well, how did they get that many?
Everybody wanted to be in the parade.
But doesn't everybody want to be in all the parades?
Well, yes, but I think that...
Is it because it's new and they feel as though, hey, I want to be a part of a new crew and a new... Is it like Muses cast-offs or people that can't get into Muses?
My understanding of this parade is that it is the people who were on the waiting list to get into Muses.
Oh, okay.
And there were so many of them that they said, well, look, shit, we can make our own parade. And they turned around and did it. That's then my outsider's
Muses
understanding.
is a super crew, too, then. A de facto super crew.
Muses has about 1,500 riders.
Well, is that what makes a super crew? Is how many people
I don't know.
You have in it?
I don't think that Muses calls itself a super crew.
Oh, well, that's... Then I give them points for that.
No.
I mean... Like I said earlier, Chewbacca's called himself a super crew, and They don't even have one of those trucks.
But see, Chewbacca was getting in on the joke, and this is because
I'm not sure. He didn't say it with a wink, wink, nod, nod on the Facebook page.
Okay. My interpretation of that is that they're getting in on the joke, and the joke is that
afterwards, I think they bragged a little bit more about how awesome they were.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if Chewbacca has the history to make that joke. I don't know if they're self-actualized.
But it was a thing that
to
happened
make
that
joke.
week, is what I'm saying. Like, it was like the controversy that week was Nick said they are a Superkrewe, and it was like people were like NOLA.com ran a poll about what are the elements that make a Superkrewe? What do you think is a Superkrewe?
Right.
And so that became the internet question of the day, and I think that it's very likely that whoever was in Chewbacca's was making that joke.
I disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I read it, and just knowing those guys,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they have that much of a sense of humor to
Okay.
do that. Yeah, I mean they can. I'll ask around. I'll go back and look at it, but no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they're that snarky.
That's quite a coincidence then.
Yeah. No, I think they read that. It's more likely that they read that Nix was saying that they were a super.
Oh, they were
crew.
just in
So
on
now
it.
they're like, hey, this is what fucking crews do. New cool crews call themselves a super crew.
That's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, if
Oh,
you look at the
that's
hipster crew
disappointing.
and you think, what would a hipster do? They're the hipster crew. That's what they would do.
Oh God, that's disappointing.
That's my speculation. You gave them a little bit more credit than I think.
I
they
guess I
deserve.
did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for expecting more.
I got a couple things to say about Nix, though.
All right, go ahead. This is the part of the show where we rip the shit out of Nick's, which is a parade. By the way, we have lots of friends who ride in this parade.
Yeah, I have tons of friends. who
Just
ride
like
this parade.
anybody, and this is how big they are, by the way. Every single person in New Orleans knows another 10 people in New Orleans who are actually in the crew of Nick's.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
Yeah, it's
like,
huge.
There are so many of them. I let a couple of them just kind of go by without going and calling
Without
them
even
out
talking
on
to
the float.
them, right.
Because I was like, I'm just going to wait for these guys. I don't need to go chase them down for purses and shit like that. I mean, my cup runneth over.
There was one float in particular where we had friends on one side on the neutral ground side and some friends on the sidewalk side. And we had to choose which one to run. And,
Nick's problems, man.
Yeah, it had Nick's problems.
That was the one I let go by. I was just like, no, I'm going to catch up with some of these my homegirls down here. And then I didn't. What happened was that I didn't end up getting shit from any of them. Like I got like terrible throws. I think I got a little stuffed purse.
You got a purse?
No, a stuffed
little
plush purse. I
purse.
didn't get
Okay.
a purse. I had one last year that I figured I'm going to get these for years to come. I gave it away, and now I have one left, and I didn't get one this year, which is fine. I was a little disappointed, but then I didn't get that much other stuff either. Some light up beads, and that was that. And the parade wasn't that crowded.
So the things that distinguish this parade from what you would consider a Superkrewe are probably these. They don't have, the big C-list celebrity monarch or whatever. They don't have one of those. They don't have...
You don't watch Firefly? That was that guy from Orpheus? He's a pretty big deal.
In there was a celebrity in Nick's?
Is there... Oh, you mean you're talking about C-list celebrities that are in Muses?
No, I'm talking about Nick's. Did they have anybody?
No, they don't.
Okay, so they didn't have any of them. All right, so...
I thought you were talking about any monarch.
No, these
that's in
are
a
the
parade.
things that you expect in something that calls itself a Superkrewe. They don't have that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess. You got to have a celebrity.
You got to have a minor celebrity of some sort.
All right.
You got to have at least one big ass signature
Stupid ass float. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You got to have one.
Yeah. All right.
thing.
Let's put it together here.
They didn't have any.
Over 1,500 members.
Yes.
A truck with little lights that spin around.
Right.
A bad celebrity.
Right.
And a big stupid signature float.
At least one.
At least
Preferably
one.
two.
Right. How about maybe a throat that you can throw stuff back at? Because I
Right.
know Bacchus and Orpheus have one of those.
Right.
Okay. Does Endymion have one of those? I
didn't see Endymion this year, so I can't really update you.
Okay, we'll leave that one off. We're doing it. Hunker Downcast is quantifying a fucking Superkrewe here tonight.
Now Nick's they had a signature float that was some kind of like a purse float, but I think that was the first float that they actually ever bought. And all of their remaining floats were, in fact, some of just the regular, I think either from Blaine Kern or from one of the other, groups that ride in several different parades is what I'm saying. Like, if you watch all the parades, there are several parades that run the same floats with different theming every time.
Right. Okay. They change the sign out.
Yeah. And Nick's theme was even kind of like, this is their fifth parade, and they decided to make that into a big celebration.
Right. They celebrated the 5th president and
right. So
fives of everything.
Right. Everything was fives, but there were these floats that you had seen in other parades that had a 5 put on them for some reason.
Okay. They were like, oh man. So maybe the 5th president one, there was a float that had presidents as their thing. It was like, oh, well, let's grab James Madison or whoever it is. I hope that's right.
James Monroe.
James Monroe.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, so there was
a Superkrewe wouldn't do that.
No, they wouldn't. Although, I mean, a Superkrewe might have kind of a goofy theme, but they would actually create their own floats and elaborate things to go with their theme. But this is not what they did.
Nick's, you're not there yet. I'm sorry. If y'all would have thrown me a float, I would be totally a purse. I would totally be taking the opposite stance on this and say, no, they're a Superkrewe.
I caught 2 purses.
Yeah, and I think you caught one like legit. Like it wasn't someone you know.
No, it was just a stranger threw me a purse.
That was awesome.
So here's another thing that I was going to say later, but we one of the qualities of a Superkrewe is they have to throw a bunch of shit. They have to throw ridiculous.
It just has to fly.
The whole night we were out there, we kept saying, they're not really throwing anything. Like, what is wrong with them? Yeah. But then by the end of the night, when I got home and I put all the stuff on the bead pile, I'm like, I got a lot of shit.
I didn't have that much shit. I mean, I gave some stuff away to little kids because I was like,
that's what you do.
The thing I was doing.
I
never did it before.
If you're an adult at all, you give away half the shit you catch.
Because this was the first year. And I consider myself like I've been being benevolent in giving this to these children.
Okay.
Before I would never give it to kids. I wouldn't fight them for it, but that was how benevolent I was before. Like I wouldn't step in front of the route if there was going to a little kid.
Understandable.
But this year I just don't want a bunch of beads, so I gave them all to little kids and said, "Here, you throw this away."
That makes sense.
But I still didn't even do that very much during Nick's.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we were catching a lot of stuff while it was happening, and it just never felt. Even though, and I'm looking while we're talking about this, I'm looking at all the pictures I took because that's helping me remember things because I've had a few beers. But they did have a lot of the things that you would expect to see in an elaborate parade. They had several of like the little marching clubs. I think they had Roo La La, and they had the Pussyfooters. And some of the other ones.
Gotta have them.
But
they're a lot of fun. I love those.
But the whole parade did not feel like it was staged in a way that was impressive. Like those things just kind of came along, and you said, "Oh, there's that now."
Maybe they were getting their sea legs. I think also you gotta have at least Landry Walker or St. Aug or one of the other big schools in it.
Yeah.
But I think, didn't Nick's have Southern?
No, I don't think they did. The first time I saw Southern this year was in the Krewe of Femme Fatale, which I'm sorry that we didn't mention Femme Fatale earlier. They were one of my favorite parades I saw this year.
You sure it wasn't Nick's?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought maybe I heard y'all say that. Whoa, shit. Because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Tim and them, will y'all get back to us on that?
All right, Tim and them, tell us whether or not Southern was in Nick's. I don't think they were. I saw Southern in Femme Fatale, and Femme Fatale was the best. I think they're the best day. Well, the second best day parade that I have on my list this year, which is a big surprise. They were a first weekend parade, and they had all of the elements. They had like big bands. They were led by Southern. They had they just had a lot of fun. It was a big fun day parade, and
So yeah, you got to think a day parade is always going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. It kind of gives the lights and everything. A night parade has so much more, an easier canvas with which to work.
and that's why these ratings are kind of subjective and weighted. Like Nick's, I have way down at number 19.
Even Nick's, god damn, y'all!
Even though it was a big parade and it was a lot of fun to go see, it because they decided to say that they were a Superkrewe. And this was their big thing. Yeah, it's all about meeting those expectations, and it's like watching, ice skating. And she decided to skate this particular program with the 3 Salchows and the whatever.
Oh,
and
wow!
And didn't hit them. So that's
right.
our Knicks parade review, I guess.
It's something you expect at the end.
Yeah.
And if you go to the taco shop in San Diego, they got to have the little pickled radishes up front. They don't got that. Hey, there's some things in life that you just got to do, and it doesn't get you anything. It just gets you not criticized.
Right.
It doesn't get you praised. It's the minimum thing you have to do to just not be criticized.
That's what these ratings are like. Because, the taco's good, but it's not.
No pickled radishes at the counter. What the fuck?
Every last one of these parades is good. I didn't not have fun at any of them, but you gotta. I was doing it, so I have an order. So yeah. Anyway,
Nick's number 19. Damn.
19, which is,
and I think we've also decided they're not a Superkrewe.
No, they're definitely not yet. Yeah. They can be. They have the size to be. Obviously. Now
it's just something we can hold over their head.
Maybe forever. Maybe they should split again. Maybe they should be 2 smaller parades.
A waiting list and then Tuesday night.
Right.
There'll be another.
Right.
That the slot is open. It will be filled one day, I'm sure. As, New Orleans housing prices skyrocket and shit. The Tuesday night parade. Let's move on to Thursday night, which is everybody's former darling who they sort of became kind of unenamored with, and kind of they had a little affair with Nick's for a while, but according to Jeff Bostic, the light has been rekindled with Muses, and that they showed up again this year.
I never got really down on Muses.
A lot of people I talked to were like, no, Nick's is a new thing.
Yeah, that was
just overblown.
That's actually that was one of our questions this weekend. I think it was from Lanyapism. Which was, is what did he even say? Is Muses? He didn't say his Muses over, like San Francisco or New York. As Alli would say. But he said
done. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Is it over or is it done?
Is it over or done?
I don't know. Alli, get back to us on that.
Right, we have to kind of remember what that was. But there was this thing going around about how Muses is not all that anymore for some reason, and I don't know what.
It might be the band that got discovered that used to be your favorite band. Like, I liked REM before Green, type thing.
Yeah,
I remember Muses used to be the shit, and then everybody the routes got too crowded, and everybody showed, and it's just like. I liked them before they were cool. Now
that you say it that way, I can remember myself actually saying a thing kind of like that while we were waiting for Muses to come to either my wife or my father, whoever was standing next to me at it was something like, I remember when this parade used to come on Wednesday, and nobody even knew how good it was. It was like this parade redefined how people expect the parade to be now. And those were the days. But now it's all like everybody's trying to be this.
Like a record shop employee.
It sounded exactly like that. And that is so fucking embarrassing.
Well, man, I'm actually surprised you admitted it. So.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's good. It's the first step.
But so I guess that's where that question came from people. Because, people were saying, is it over?
They were married to Muses, and then they just had a little affair.
And I think
maybe they're still doing it. I don't know.
I'm
not.
Maybe it's because now that it's on magazine, people go see it over there, and do they feel like it's too crowded or something? I don't know.
Muses?
Yeah.
It did get a lot crowded. I remember I watched on Canal.
Did you see it this year?
Yes. And I had I was right near the beginning on Magazine.
Okay.
And I think like down by Delmonico, like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I had a good time. I didn't get as many throws. I definitely didn't get a shoe. And I kind of, at the end, was like, people really want those shoes. Like, I mean, everybody's just begging and begging and begging for them. And it almost seems like it would be uncomfortable to ride in it. Just how much they run up to them and are like, shoe, 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 shoe.
We had a lot of people over for Muses that night. I don't know if we had as many people as we had over for Nick's, but we had a big group. And I have this as one of the best parades this year. Oh, it's number 2.
Oh,
number
God. 2. All the way up at number 2. Good job, Muses. You're back, baby.
No, they did everything right. And I think this is kind of like I just told you about how Nick's had all of the elements that you would expect in the Superkrewe, except for like the celebrity and except for the some like the big floats. But they had those the marching crews and the little stage surprise elements that used to kind of come up. Like all of a sudden, here come the stilt walkers. Well,
Rolling Elvi and there's beautiful butterflies.
Muses is still the only parade that stages those things in exactly the right place. You watch the parade and you see the lead units come and there'll be a couple little things, the little butterflies and things come up.
Right.
And then they start
the big balloon coming down the street,
yes,
kind of letting you know she's here.
And then they start rolling the parade and you see their introductory things come and you see their theme. Their theme was hilarious this year. They were candy.
Yeah.
And they made all kinds of jokes about I was trying to figure out what my favorite one was. I'm looking at it right now. The Confederate conversation hearts was really funny.
Did they throw out one of those things that have an image of all the floats on it? Did they throw out one
Yeah,
of those
I actually have one of those. They had like a bulletin.
Yeah, I love catching those so I don't have to like stop and read each one.
I take pictures of them all, so I have that. Yeah, they did really well. I
don't do that. I'm too busy enjoying the parades.
This is enjoying the parade.
Not if you're sitting there in your camera taking pictures, trying to capture the moment for later. You need to capture the moment
reading the floats.
By actually being there.
Shut up. Wait. I think that... Never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
This is meta now. This is you... All right, never mind. But
they had a C-list celebrity. You were about to say something.
Yeah, so they had this great theme with all the candy jokes. The Irvin Mayfield Heavenly Cash was really funny. And then after you've seen a lot of those floats go by and you're really kind of like into that, that's when they have the little break and you see like the Colossus bikes come by.
Right. Those are awesome.
And
a couple of my friends are in there.
And they start rolling like I think that's when the Elvi show up. And
always fun.
And
always all that fun. Great throws.
All that kind of loose stuff and like starts to kind of like break the mood.
Gets you in the crowd. Gets you into the parade.
And everybody else from the sideline gets in the parade and kind of...
It's like off the floats where the people who are in the parade, you can't touch them and they're above and everything's moving and it's a big monolith. And then it gets you into like some marching crews where you're like, oh, wow, they're there. They can come up. They can talk to you.
Right.
Touch you. Hand you throws. Stuff like that.
Right.
And it makes you feel like, hey, I'm in the front row at this rock concert. Or at
and
this show.
It happens at a time when you're ready for it, and then it all kind of comes together, and it's towards the end of the parade, but they did it right, I guess is what I'm trying to say about that. And yeah, you're right. They had a celebrity
who lost her wedding ring.
Lost her wedding ring.
And as far as I know, has not been found.
I actually I'm working on a novella about the sanitation work, the Fellowship of Sanitation Workers who are tasked with returning Solange's ring to the marsh fires of Michoud.
Oh. Oh, it's like a Lord of the Rings type...
Yes.
Wow.
And they have to get across out there and throw it into the marsh fire.
Oh, well, I can't wait to read that. Maybe we could have a live reading on the Hunker Downcast.
Yeah, it'll work.
sometime.
Yeah.
I think that thing is probably definitely in the sewer somewhere.
Well, it's probably on. It's probably got picked up by the crew of municipal vehicles.
Yeah, but then thrown away. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gone.
No, it's been trashed
Yeah.
because
Has to have been.
the crew of municipal vehicles is
KMV
yeah, that's the procession of sanitation workers
That
and
follows.
trucks and things that follow every parade and pick up all the stuff that all the giant mess that you make. There's this huge operation that comes behind every parade that very efficiently and very effectively
Oh yes,
rounds
and
up
then
all
they
the
have
trash and puts it all away. They raked up that ring and it's on a truck somewhere and it's in a it's gone. The ring's gone.
Yeah. If it hasn't been found by now, it's not going to be found.
No.
I'm sure they searched that entire.
It's not going to be
shit.
found there. It's going to be found wherever they took it when they put it on the truck.
Yeah, but then they took it out to the dump and they just dumped it, and then there's no way that anyone's going to find it there. But the really beautiful thing, which would have happened, would be that it got thrown off and somebody caught it.
Yeah.
But that would
then
have been a great story.
Then they get pissed off because it didn't light up.
And they were like,
threw it away.
"Fuck this!"
Right.
But that's not going to happen.
No.
Nobody's found it.
Okay.
So we're rolling right into Friday.
So you don't want to talk about any other stuff that happened on Thursday? I guess we shouldn't.
Well, I mean,
No, I mean we could talk about the rest of the stuff that happened on Thursday, but that's just me telling you how pretty the parades were. That's fine. What happens on Friday?
there is the other parade that Alli hates, Krewe d'Etat, and Hermes is also that.
Yeah,
night?
Hermes was
Hermes.
that
I
night.
haven't seen in a few years, but I love that parade. It's
Hermes
beautiful.
is one of the prettiest parades. They always do a literary theme, but in past years they've been very almost a little too archaic. They've gone into deep into a couple the one I remember from a couple years ago was really deep into Indian mythology or something. And this year they were the Tempest.
Oh,
So it was very accessible. People kind of were like, "Oh yeah, that's
the Shakespearean play."
yes."
Oh, I would
And-
like to have seen that.
It looked great. Hermes looks great. I thought that. I mean, they're a smaller parade and they don't have the giant floats, but they have very well decorated
They
floats.
make up for it. I think they are the prettiest parade.
And pound for pound, they threw twice as much as Muses did.
Oh wow!
For the size that they were. I mean, not Muses, Knicks. So
Man, Knicks is getting their ass whipped tonight, y'all.
but
I didn't see either of them. I managed to end up in some bar called Mix, deep down in Mid-City.
what was going on there?
I was just meeting some friends. I was trying to lay low. I had some beers with them. It was kind of a sausage bar, actually. I saw a girl completely self-destruct on the pool table. That was awesome. But on my way home, I had to drive down Carrollton, and everybody was camped out on the neutral ground, and I rolled my window down and harassed them. Was like, "You're stupid! It's just a parade! It's not a Harry Potter book, you know!" "Watch out for bears!" Because they got the tents and shit. And I just rode down Carrollton and harassed them. Because, I mean, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Don't. Dude, I'm going to tell you this right now as my friend. If you ever see me camping out, waiting for something, and not just out in the woods camping and enjoying nature, yeah, you can shoot me.
Okay.
Yeah, just take me out.
Okay.
Don't let me camp out ever for anything. I pay rent. And
Yeah.
I want every last day of that shit.
I can't imagine what I would camp out for. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a concert. I mean, somebody would have to come back to life
There are years
for
when
me to camp out.
I mean, there are years when I walk out to St. Charles and go see what's going on out there with the campers.
But you're not pitching a tent.
No, I mean it's kind of boring out there. Actually, it's not like
Yeah, they didn't look like they were having fun.
No.
And I was just like, look at these dumbasses. I mean, fuck. And then that's all I did on Friday night.
So you didn't really go to anything else on Friday?
No, I used to go see Krewe d'etats in this in my football analogy, which we haven't gotten to yet. I wasn't going too hard. I was playing I was running the ball a lot that night.
Krewe d'etats floats, they were like, Chaos and Krewe d'etats parades were almost identical, which is not surprising, given who they are and stuff. But they seem to make the same joke. Like, it's almost like they had collaborated on it, or they had talked too much to one another about it, because they thought the same things were going to be funny. Yeah, both of them had a Caitlyn Jenner float.
Oh. She's about... There's been a Mardi Gras since then, has there?
I don't know. It seems like a long time ago.
Seems like a long time ago.
And it seems like something that people would be over by now, but they both
Not
weren't.
Fresh in your mind.
No, they both weren't over it. And I think Chaos's version of it was even worse, because they did this thing where it was evolution. For the joke, I guess, was that they were... humans were evolving into different types, and then Caitlyn Jenner was a new species, apparently. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to show the evolution of man on the side of the float, where they were labeling the different hominids, and one was Homo something, Homo, and they just wanted to use the word Homo over and over again on their float.
Homo's funny.
Yeah, well...
Like when you first heard Homo sapiens when you were a kid.
Right.
Like,
so...
Dude, Homo sapien. I'm not a Homo sapien. You're a Homo sapien.
They thought that was funny.
It was a second grade level of humor.
Right.
Well, people from the right side of the spectrum, they're not known for their critical thought.
Well, I mean, it's more like hey, look at us get away with saying this, I guess is what the joke is.
Lame.
Yeah. It was kind of...
You gotta be funny.
D'etats,
you can't just do something.
I'll give d'etats credit for it. I think they were funnier, but they weren't. They weren't my favorite.
I didn't see them at all, so no comment.
Okay.
I just harassed Endymions.
What did you do on Endymion Saturday?
Oh well, this day, since my wife back in 2005 got hit by a car that night.
Ugh.
That was the only night I ever saw any of Endymion, and since that night. Just to mark how awful that night was, because we ended up at Lindy Boggs Hospital over there on Jeff Davis. I was like, fuck it, I'm never going to... Because I wasn't having a great time anyways, because the parade was... I detected the douchiness, and I was only in town the second time for 1 year at this time. And I was just like, that parade sucks, and my wife got hit by a car. Fuck that, I'm never seeing it again.
So you haven't seen it in a long time?
Yeah, I don't even know what it's about anymore. Saturday is traditionally I make my costume, I work on my costume. Nom Talk is right by my house in Algiers.
Did you talk?
Which I still don't see. I still didn't go see it. I was super busy making my costume. And then I burned something in my backyard that night. This year, I burnt my Christmas tree, and I was going to meet my neighbors. They were out watching Endymion, and I could sense that they were getting fucked up, so I just broke into their backyard and started burning shit in it. They came home, and I swear to God, they were like zombies. They were so drunk. They would just come down the stairs one by one, like, oh. And then we sat around the fire, and we burnt stuff, and one of them decided to take his clothes off, and then we all sat
great.
there.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And burnt Christmas trees and wood while one of us was completely buck-ass naked.
Didn't burn his clothes, though.
No.
So he was able to put them back on.
The entire time, though, he was naked. So I thought that was a good night. And there's pictures of that on my Instagram for any of you ladies or gents who want to check it out.
Naked dude by a fire.
Yeah, I took an Instagram picture of like, hey, just another Mardi Gras tradition, the bonfire. And it's of like 3 people standing by the fire. And it's just, if you're just scrolling through Instagram, you're not going to notice it. But if you stop and look at it, you realize, oh, there's a penis.
Which is the opposite of Krewe de Vue, where you can't help but notice.
Yeah, the penises are everywhere.
They're right
or the
there.
peni, or whatever it's called.
The peni.
Did you see Endymion?
No, I didn't go to Endymion.
So you took the night off too?
No, yeah, but at that point, we had done Iris and Tux that day. And Iris, my favorite thing about Iris this year...
I don't know what you go... Isn't that a... Collective Soul song, Iris. And I don't really
Good
know
God,
who
is
I
it-
am. No,
No, I
All
don't
right,
know.
Go ahead.
My favorite thing about Iris this year was that at one point the WDSU Parade Tracker app had them clear across the Atlantic. Like they were like you looked at the map and they were stuck like in the ocean, like off the coast of like Nigeria.
Holy shit!
And like we're like, hey, are they okay? Like, did they make it?
They
Like,
jaunted, or they found a wormhole.
they would use some gravity waves or something. It was really
That would have
freaking-
been funny.
was
What
a-
did it say? Oh, there's it's a map that has
tracker update. Boink, and then they're like right off the coast of like Cote d'Ivoire.
Oh, okay.
So-
It didn't say it because I only follow the one on Twitter where it says so and so is at this and this.
No, they were. You have to open the app and look at the map. It was just wrong. But that was the most interesting thing that happened at Iris. Iris is not my favorite parade, to be honest.
Where
with
did
you.
it place?
Oh, yeah, look at that. On the list. Oh, they're number 17.
Oh, not too.
They're
good.
right there between Chaos and Pontchartrain. Pontchartrain should be higher. I like Pontchartrain. Anyway,
What about Tux?
Tux. So we saw Tux. Tux is
Where did it place?
number 5.
Oh, damn!
Number 5. This was the best Tux I've seen in a few years. And the reason that I think it was the best Tux is because I wasn't worried about whether or not we were going to go see Endymion. So I got into place and just
so you
watched
were in
all
a
the
comfortable
Tux.
spot.
Yeah.
I'm a dig in here and watch Tux.
That's what we did. And so it may just be us having decided to go and experience it. But it's like Tux, like their whole thing is they're very loose. We talked about how Muse's stages their walking groups like at the end of the parade kind of.
Mhm.
Tux puts all their little walking groups at the front of the parade, and they have the dragon puppets and ducks and and I think the Lazy Boys come down at the beginning. Of Tux.
I've never seen them. I've heard about them. They made a bit of a splash this year on my social media.
But
I'd never seen them before, and I heard about them a lot this year.
Yeah, they're fun. But that whole thing,
Somebody we know is in them. I don't know who.
that kind of sets the mood for this is gonna be like they're not taking themselves very seriously. We're kind of fucking off and just it's Saturday, and
Kind of like the Hunger Downcast.
yeah, especially tonight.
This is a Hogshead Studio Hunger Downcast.
Yeah, this is definitely
it's the Tux
this is
of the
that's where
Hunger
we are.
Downcast.
That can be like a bad thing for Tux sometimes. Like it can make the whole parade seem kind of like out of like just make it seem like a mess. But this was funny. They did a neighborhood theme, and so they were making like some little pointed jokes about people's neighborhoods and stuff. And
Oh, well, that would have been
was pretty
nice.
good. And they threw their toilet paper, which was colored purple, green, and gold this year, which was kind of neat. Also, this was the parade where I saw a dude with a drone, flying right over. So I've got some pictures of a drone taking pictures of me while the parade was going on. Also, the other thing about this year, I don't know how many hoverboards you saw, but we saw a fuck ton of hoverboards out on the parade route, and nobody really. I didn't see any accidents, but we did see. It was basically hoverboards versus drones, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Did you?
They don't really hover.
No, I don't understand why they're actually.
There was a Super Bowl commercial that featured hoverboards and drones,
Mhm.
and it was for a Taco Bell creation called the Quesalupa.
Quesalupa.
Yeah.
That's a new Taco Bell thing.
Yeah,
Taco Bell just it's like if they took Spanish sounding words in refrigerator magnet form,
yeah. They
And,
just
mixed them
shove
up.
shit together.
and that would be Taco Bell items.
Yeah, it's got cheese in the shell. And
Okay.
at the beginning, they say this is going to be bigger than, and then they go through a series of things, and drones and hoverboards
We're both there.
are both listed in there, along with James Harden's beard and a few other things.
Well, we got attacked by a drone, and we were nearly run over by several hoverboards. So
Yeah, those hoverboards, I just wouldn't do it.
you say that now, but no one's ever really offered you the opportunity. So
I mean, I wouldn't buy one or take one out in public because there's no way. I've never seen anyone just be like, "Hey, y'all, what's going on?" Everyone rides those fucking things with this like attitude, like I'm the coolest motherfucker on the planet because I have this thing.
Well, either you can...
They're on their phone or they're talking through an earpiece, and I'm just like, "Fuck off!" Except for one time.
Oh,
I was going down Highway 90. I was heading out to Raceland.
Yeah.
I looked at a Dollar General.
Right.
There was no one in the parking lot. There was somebody in the store, and there was one like lonely person doing figure eights in the parking lot as I drove by, and I was like, "Damn!"
I was just about to say, let's go out and get drunk and do some hoverboard donuts.
Well, they'll burn your house down, bro. You
Yeah,
don't want them.
that's the idea. Let's have some
There
brownies.
were a lot of them. They have no business being at a Mardi Gras.
They
parade.
definitely have a business being at Mardi Gras. They're the thing that's happening that people everybody has. It's
Then
gonna
drones belong there too.
certainly they do. They were there. Little quadcopters.
If you watch
buzzing
that
in my
Endymion fight that I posted on my Facebook page.
Okay, yeah. So there's a video of an Endymion fight. Right, I saw that one. It was taken, by the way, that was shot by a Times-Picayune sports reporter.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah, that was Evan Woodbury. Shot that video.
Oh, okay.
It's of a fight.
A stupid fight.
Yeah.
If you watch that, one of the best parts about that is not the fight that's happening, is that the people who walk by, and at one point somebody comes by on a hoverboard and acts like, "Hey, fight, I couldn't be bothered by this fight. I'm on my hoverboard."
I did see that. I did see that.
And there's also the second funniest one is like two very drunk girls who are, I don't know who's holding who up. I think they're taking turns holding each other up, and they just kind of stroll on by the fight. Also,
yeah, that's a pretty good video actually.
I mean,
yeah. It's
we'll put that in the show notes.
It's like nature. It's like Richard Attenborough takes you to Chad.
It's like so cruel, Chad. So cruel, Chad. Man. It's just like if you hated Endymion, you got no reason. Yeah, it just definitely.
Yeah, if you want to feel I'm sure Endymion was nice this year. If Alli were here, she could tell us about it.
That's her parade. Weirdly enough.
Alli, who lives in beautiful downtown Mid-City, hosted an Endymion party this year, and we have no idea what happened because neither of us was there, and she was. So
and she caught a virus, and that's why she's
Endymion has
bacterial infection.
Yeah, she got Zika at Endymion, and now she's not here. So that's what happened.
Well,
anyway,
I usually rest up on Saturday because I go balls to the wall on Sunday. And then if last year I did Mom's Ball right into Toth, your parade.
Did you do
I didn't do Mom's Ball this year. I think that I'm one and done with that, although it was really fun.
I don't think you have to go to more than one Mom's Ball, to be honest.
It's not like I wouldn't go to it. It's not like I thought it was a terrible experience. It takes a lot out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to stay up that late on that Saturday, and that's generally amateur night in New Orleans, so I take it off. I woke up Sunday morning. I rode my bike over the ferry. I had my NFL team had its throwback jerseys on, and I dressed in all white. I caught you in Toth. I got a liberal Mardi Gras bead, a Mardi Gras bead with a Democratic jackass on it that offended me.
I don't think that's a particularly liberal.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
Not well, depending on who garners the nomination this year. Anyway.
Right. But it offended me.
It's probably going to be.
It was
Hillary.
the politicizing of Mardi Gras.
Yeah. So what you're basically saying is that you went to Toth.
I caught you,
and someone threw you.
Someone threw
me a package that included a bead with it being an election year. One of those. It was red, white, and blue donkey.
Yes.
For just
which
if you
I could only.
Which is the Democratic Party's
communist propaganda.
Yeah, but it's not though because it's American. It's not. There's nothing communist about it. It's except for depending on who wins the nomination.
Well, okay, not to
we
get
can-
too political.
Okay.
After you roll by, I caught a bunch of throws from Toth. And then me and my crew by the old oak tree, who dress in all white, we caught the box of wine parade, which was awesome. We kneeled, and they said that not a lot of people were drinking the wine, which was unfortunate, but we all wear white, and we let the purpleness get all over us. And I really don't really like getting white wine in that parade, but some people do pour it. And then after that, you've just chugged basically a bottle, sometimes more of wine, and then you're ready. Like you've been like kind of sipping on beers, or maybe having a little too much beers,
Right.
and then after that, you're just like you just get wine poured down your throat while you're genuflecting. I read a sermon in front of that. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, you did
know.
a sermon that day?
Yeah, it was all about
Varg is
drinking
actually
and such.
Varg is a reverend. Like you're ordained by what is it, Universal Life or something like that?
The one that you just get one online.
Right, the online thing. But still.
I've written 160 sermons.
Right.
And I've done 6 marriage ceremonies, several house blessings, and fortunately only one eulogy so far.
Do you save all of these in the book, or do you?
Yeah, I have a book with all of them. I mean, I could read the one I read that day, but
It's not,
this is getting long.
yeah, so it's not necessary to do that. But I just was wondering. I was curious whether or not you actually saved all of them. I've seen the book before.
I do. I read the one on Sunday as soon as we see the box of wine parade. I read it, and then we just run right up to it, and then we genuflect in front of the people. They pour the wine down our throats. And then this year we usually watch Bacchus, but this year everyone was like, fuck it, we're going to watch the Super Bowl. So we went to the Rusty Nail, watched the Super Bowl. That was awesome. And then we were completely fucking wasted in there, drunk as hell. A DJ came on. All the sports fans were looking at us because as soon as the DJ came on, we just all went and danced in front of him. Completely covered in white, purple and everything. They were looking at us like we were fucking nuts. Then I got on my bike. I started to head home, and lo and behold, as I was on my way to the ferry, the Bacchus parade was there.
Oh.
I got to catch almost all of that.
So you did see Bacchus.
I did see Bacchus,
Oh, great.
and it was down there near the end by the convention center, and there was almost nobody there, and they were still throwing. Everything was great. Also, this day, I got 3 out of the 5 great American meals. I ate a piece of pizza, a taco, and a hot dog. And if I had eaten a cheeseburger and a piece of fried chicken, I would have had the American food.
You would have done the
pentathlon.
Done the American Grand Slam.
Yep.
You could probably put all of those things on an omelet and sell it at Denny's.
No, because I don't eat chicken and eggs.
Oh, really?
No.
Why is this?
No mother and child on the same plate.
Oh, I didn't even notice that was the
if
thing.
there's anything to my religion, it's don't eat chicken and eggs. And then I went home, and I got ready for Monday. But I was kind of.
I'm wondering if that's in the wedding vow that you don't eat chicken and eggs. But okay.
Tell me about Toth.
Well, okay, so that sounds like... First of all, the Sunday we're talking about, this is the peak day.
That's the day.
That's
the best day of Mardi Gras.
If you don't get it
Second
that
best
day, like if you haven't gotten your Mardi Gras by that point, if you don't get it that day, you're not
making the playoffs.
No, you're not going to get it. It's hard to not get something from that day, even if you're just there going through the motions.
For some people who just come in town and they leave on Monday morning, they don't understand. They don't get the whole weekend, the whole Fat Tuesday.
Well, that's the biggest day. I mean, Sunday is the biggest day.
Yeah.
If you're uptown that day, it's the biggest. That is the day that. Even the parts of St. Charles Avenue that aren't normally crowded, they're fucking crowded.
Yeah, everybody's getting it.
Even the streets where you're not supposed to put ladders in the middle of the street, there's ladders in the middle of the street.
It's just seated.
There's shit everywhere. You can't, like, if you just walk up to the parade, you are like 9 rows back. Like, that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the only day, and it's Sunday. So everybody's there for that.
The tourists, the locals, everybody.
Our day was good. We did well that day. We rode on the float.
Your dad.
Yeah, we do Toth every year. We've done this this is like our 5th or maybe our 6th one.
Yeah, because I seem to remember you not riding in it.
Yeah,
since I've known you.
No, I know. It's not that many years that we've done it, but we have done it in the past.
And so you didn't ride in it before?
Mm-mm.
So as soon as you started, that was it. You're in it, and you do it every year now.
Yeah, we've been doing it the last because it's a good experience.
Hell yeah, it is.
I think you talked about this earlier when you were talking about doing Chewbacca's, where it's important to experience like the different parts of doing Mardi Gras, right? Like you're like if you get to be in it, that's another level. It's another thing.
Yeah.
And if you like, for someone like me who like I grew up in New Orleans and I grew up, going to see all of these parades, it went from being, you're excited about going to see this weird ass shit to seeing to kind of understanding it better. To you get to like your mid-20s to early 30s, it gets to a point where I'm going to go see all these people I know come down the street.
Right.
To
I am the people.
Yeah, to like I am the people coming down the street. So it's like a thing. That's the process.
That's a good little evolution of like you pay it back. Like you used to be the one who got shit thrown to you. Now you're older, wiser, you have some money, and you're the one who throws.
Well, now you have to do it, right? Yeah. and it can be good or bad, but
it's got to be funner on the float.
It is. It's a day, man. It's like in to ride in Toth is if you're going to ride in a parade, that's the one to do. I mean, it's the longest one. It's the best one. It's number 1 on the list, by the way.
I figured that was number 1. I wasn't going to ask, but interesting that you rated it number 1 from that bizarre perspective of your being in it.
Well,
only really seeing.
Yeah, I mean, you're
pacing.
You're standing.
You should
there.
eliminate that one.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the whole thing is just a throng of folks yelling at the top of their lungs in your face.
Be number 1.
So why would that not be?
Which parade was your favorite?
The one I was in.
Like I saw like 100,000 people and they were begging for stuff from me. Not the one where I was begging stuff from everybody else. So
all right. So
Muses is really the number 1.
Muses was the best parade I saw from the street.
Okay.
Toth was the best parade. So
probably the 5th year.
The best one that I experienced.
Okay.
And
can I just ask you if you've ever like been like, actually that one I saw was better than the one I rode in? Would that ever actually happen?
It might. I mean, I could.
Then that would definitely a shitty ride.
Well, no. Yeah, I can think of a couple of reasons why this would have happened. Let me tell you how this might have happened. So, Toth is a very long parade. It's unlike any other parade in that it goes all the way up Tchoupitoulas to Henry Clay and then comes back all the way down Magazine.
Yeah.
And so you're on the float for like 6 or 7 hours. Like,
holy shit. It's exhausting.
Yeah, but it's great. But it doesn't get like super intense until you get up to St. Charles. And that's where all the Chads are with their giant Chad infrastructure.
And their pearlish Chad infrastructure.
Well, because, no.
They do have it. I know exactly
the route looks different. Even from the float, it looks different. Like when you're riding along Magazine, you can see like people. When you're on St. Charles, you just see ladders. And you see like tents behind the ladders. So,
Chad infrastructure.
Yes, Chad infrastructure. So that's where it's going to get intense, and as it goes up Napoleon from Magazine, especially with the road work going on there, it's kind of empty.
Okay.
So what happened as we got towards Napoleon on Magazine? I was taking pictures of the crowd for a moment. I was being the douchebag, taking a couple pictures of the crowd.
That's one of my Mardi Gras rules.
We stopped, and you can do that. And I put my phone down on, like, in the like right where my beer was, and then the float moved, and then I looked down, and I didn't know where my phone was anymore. So I had a moment
that's a kind of a buzzkill.
where I thought, my God, I've thrown my phone off the side of the float, which is a bad idea. And
Well, yeah, I mean, you didn't throw it.
well, it'd be a shitty thing to catch anyway if you catch somebody's phone. But anyway,
Depending, yeah.
so as I'm trying to figure out, I mean, it could have fallen onto the street or it could have fallen onto the floor of the float, and I'm thinking that it's either here underneath all this crap that I could dig through and find it, but it might take me another 3 blocks of us riding to find it, or I could run down and look and see if it's on the street.
Because it'll always be down there if it is down there.
Right. So, but if we keep moving, then there's a longer space of ground for us to cover.
Right, yeah. You got to act now.
Yeah, so I decided that before we get to the intense part of the route where I'm going to just be wandering forever, and before it gets to be too long, I'm going to jump off the float and go find my phone, if I can. So I just jumped out the back door of the float. We happen to be riding towards the back of the float. And the float's moving, and I jump out the back, and then I jump over, like, in between the two parts.
Hold on, my phone is ringing. Go ahead.
And then anyway, so I ran back around the corner, and I see all the people that I had just been talking to from the float, and several of them were like, "Hey man, happy Mardi Gras!" Like as though I had come down to see them. And I'm, I started asking people where my phone is. I don't see it. The police are concerned. Not, for me being off they're like concerned for my phone. They're like, "Hey, can we help?" And I'm like, "No." I mean, unless you saw a phone, but nobody did. And so you have like your 5 minutes you're not even your 5 minutes, your 5 seconds to look. And then it's not there. So you know that the parade is starting to move again. So you have to get back on the float before it gets onto the main route. So then I turn around and take off running. So I have to, by the time...
In costume.
Yes, in my costume. So I'm
There's
down...
a Toth Rider in peril
Right.
on the parade. Right?
So
the police are actually trying to help.
So if you're watching the parade at that point, there's this guy who is down off the float in his costume and his mask.
That's not where he's supposed to be.
No, looking around.
It vexes people.
I decide I can't look anymore. I'm not going to find it if it's here. I have to go back to the float. So then like for the whole like half of Napoleon Avenue, there's a guy running
a Tother,
right alongside,
not in his place,
running alongside the band, and then running alongside the other.
It's like seeing somebody at Disneyland, like one of those guys without their masks on or something. It's just like, whoa, that is not supposed to be there.
And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking to myself, this would be hilarious if I were watching it. But the other thing that was great about it is that the cops along the way are like, "Yeah, man, go, you're almost there." So anyway, I got back on.
They consider you probably one of their people.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably them, and the people like in the parade are part of their people, and any like vendors are part of their people, and the rest of them are just the wild people. Mm-hmm. You're part of their army.
I hope so. Anyway, I got back on the float, and the phone was still there, so it wasn't like a huge tragedy. Well,
best case scenario.
This is why I told this story. It could have been a terrible day.
Losing your phone at Mardi Gras, I've done it twice. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It could have been a terrible day, and it wasn't. It was a great day. We continued on with the ride. And then we saw you guys. And then we passed in front of Gallier Hall, where sometimes the mayor's out there. And if he's out there, you can maybe bean him.
Right, you aim for him.
Yeah, but he wasn't there. So instead, LaToya Cantrella's out there.
Oh, God. They're just like, "Hey, LaToya, you get up there."
So I yelled at her. I'm like, "Hey, LaToya!" And you finally get her attention, and then I threw her another pair of those donkey beads.
Not Democratic beads, but just donkey.
Well, they're
sugar brownies.
Their Democratic Party logo.
Oh, okay.
Because we know LaToya Cantrell is a Democrat.
Right. A Democrat.
Supposedly. And so, I throw it to her, and then I'm looking back at her as she has them, and I see her showing them to her husband, having this like look on her face, like, look at this shit. Like, it was
like she bit into like a bad egg or something.
Something like that. It was great.
This motherfucker right here. When Pants met LaToya, y'all.
So that was too long a story about being on the float. I'm sorry about that.
Well, the thing about the phone is that one of the 2 times that I have lost my phone was on the Toth route. I went to see you. I jumped up and down. After I went back to them, after you gave me all your shit, I went back to my spot. I looked for my phone. I didn't have it. And I was just like, fuck it, it's gone. Like, it's not here, it's gone. And my buddy, Robert, who runs Dirty Boys with me, he's like, no, we'll find it. And so he just walks down the route going, has anyone seen a phone? Has anyone seen a phone? Which I never would have done.
No, but that's happened. People can do that.
Yeah. There were some very nice ladies there who did find it, and they gave it right back to me.
There you go.
I never would have done that. I feel so ashamed and like a dumbass when I lose my phone that I go up and I just like, has anyone turned in a phone? So...
No, but people have sympathy. Many of them do anyway. I mean, they'll be like,
Well,
just
the second time I lost my phone...
Open yourself up when you're in need, man.
I tracked it, and I saw it going west on down 90, and it just stopped right in front of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Department.
Oh, no.
It just stopped right there. And then I went there, I was like, well, y'all must have it. And they're like, they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Oh, man.
I've lost 2 phones during Mardi Gras. One I got back. It's always when you're jumping up and down. Like, I was jumping at you, and the phone just wiggled out. And the other one, I think there was a brass band there or something, and I was jumping up and down and just wiggled out.
I'm usually really, I was embarrassed too, but I'm glad that I took the risk that I did and didn't injure myself like Jeremy. So... Because that could have been a disaster, and it was not. That could have been a disaster in several ways. I could have lost my telephone. I could have been crushed by a float. Bad.
Oh yeah,
lots of bad things could have happened, and none of them did. So it turns out that it was a great day.
Crushed by a float is a shitty way to go.
Yeah, or an interesting way. Either way you want to
put it.
But so
not
that's
during Chewbacca's.
That's that story.
From
I have some other things about that day that I can tell you about, just that answer some of the things that you said. One is that, after you get off the float, you're really charged up. Like you were talking about being in Chewbacca's, being kind of
you're high as a motherfucker.
Yeah, you just,
naturally, not just sugar.
And you're not even you're tired as fuck, but you're charged. You're charged up. So you just want to go do the next thing. And I get off the float and we're downtown, and I get on my bike, which is parked there. And I ride back across town, and it's already 6 o'clock or something, and it's getting dark outside. But as I'm riding back down Barone Street, I pass the Box of Wine after party.
Woo! Those are my people.
Which was a neat thing to kind of come across. It was I don't know. It's when you're in that mood of having all that endorphins in you and everything. That's kind of a serendipitous thing to kind of come on.
Yeah. There's so much going on, and then to just happen upon it. Were they were spirited?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They'd taken over the whole block and everything, so that was cool. And then you keep going home, and then you get out there, and Bacchus is just arriving, so you can go outside and watch Bacchus, and you're already psyched. So it doesn't really matter. You're not. Nothing matters, and you just go out there and watch the parade and scream.
You're in the thick of it.
Yeah,
you're riding the snake at that point.
And on the neutral ground, there were 2 different tents with televisions
watching the Super Bowl.
Watching the Super Bowl. So
and that's where you watched it.
Yes, so we could watch the Super Bowl and Bacchus at the same time, and
which does happen. A lot.
Which happens every time that the Super Bowl happens on Bacchus Sunday. Somebody's got a TV.
One day, if you believe in the infinite universe theory, the Super Bowl with the Saints in it in New Orleans is going to happen on Bacchus Sunday. Like, yeah, I'm sure they won't run the parade.
That won't happen.
Yeah,
right.
they won't run the parade.
Right.
But that date, if you believe in the infinite universe
Even if
theory,
it's not in New Orleans, they won't run the parade.
Right, probably not.
Maybe not. I will ask
Probably
them.
not. But it doesn't matter, because if you believe that there's an infinite number of Super Bowls and an infinite number of Mardi Gras,
Right.
and an infinite number of Saint seasons, then at some point they're going to host the Super Bowl in New Orleans on Bacchus Sunday, and the Saints are going to be in it. You know, the monkeys and the typewriters typing out the
Yes, I know the whole infinite.
Far
universe
more
thing.
likely than a monkey typing out
If
a
you-
fellow.
Right.
Far more likely.
Maybe. It depends on. I would have to examine the gravity waves in order to really
Absolutely.
So.
Let's talk briefly about Orpheus, and then we'll close this segment and we'll come back with Fat Tuesday,
Okay.
reader questions, or I'm sorry, Twitter responses, and some closing statements.
That sounds good.
For hour 3, I might add.
What?
It's an extravaganza, bruh.
It's a Superkrewe. No one's gonna listen to this. We're gonna have to fix this.
No.
But listen,
Y'all don't want us to fix this, do you? No. Thanks, Tim and them. You don't want us to fix this shit. No, you can't fix what ain't broken, bruh. Come on.
all right.
Monday, I just went and I watched I set up at the square. I made some signs to fuck with the Christian zealots. I carried them around. I made some decent money. I sold that Mardi Gras flag. And then I went up and I hit Orpheus. It's a beautiful parade. I love the Smoky Mary. I always thought that the Leviathan was like the biggest float in that. But the Smoky Mary seems way bigger.
Yeah, I don't know which one was created first. I don't remember now. Because I'm an old man and my memory is bad. But at the time the Leviathan was created, it was the largest float in Carnival.
Okay.
And the reason that it was the largest float in Carnival is because it has like a second unit with a little toe bit in the back that has the generator in it, and that is the part of it that makes it that
Give
it
the
extra footage.
spire on top of the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Because the Smoky Mary looks far larger. I love the Smoky Mary.
Smoky
It's my
Mary might be
favorite float.
bigger than Leviathan, but I don't know. I'd have to look it up, and I don't.
Tim
feel
and
like
them, will y'all get back to us on that?
Tim and them, which one is the bigger float? Orpheus. I'm glad you brought Orpheus up. Orpheus is a great parade that nobody on the Uptown route wants to go and like really get loose and watch.
Really?
Because
Johnny Come Latelys?
No, it's just that everybody is ready to go get ready for Tuesday morning. And I mean, this is how I do it. Like, we will walk outside and look at the parades. We'll drink maybe a beer and a half or something. Like
On Monday?
On Monday. And Produce will come by, and Produce is a beautiful parade, and it feels good to see it. And then Orpheus comes, and you start to feel guilty as it comes. Like, it comes, and you see it, and like the big impressive floats are coming by.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
And you're like,
flowers everywhere.
this is fun, but I got shit to do. And you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, it just doesn't feel like...
What do y'all got to do the next day? Get up and
You
go
gotta
see a lamer parade with lamer people in it? Y'all don't costume. Y'all don't go like down and party in the streets.
You got to get up in the morning, and you got to go to St. Charles, and you have to see Pete Fountain come down the street. You have to see the Skeleton Crew. You have to see the Buzzards. You have to see Mondo Cayo. Tim and them were in Mondo Cayo, so we have to go see Tim and them in Mondo Cayo. And
Tim and them, literally Tim Ruppert,
like literally
and his people,
Tim,
or Tim and them are
Tim and some of them
listenership.
Tim, right, were in it, and then you have to get over to see Zulu, and then you have to like, there's a lot of shit to do on Mardi Gras Day. There's a lot of shit to do on Mardi Gras Day.
This is going to be a great final segment because I think all that shit sounds lame.
It's a lot of shit to do. You have to do all of it.
Yeah, but it sounds like a task.
It is a task.
Just to see the same shit you see every year, though.
Well, it's just like
a
going
ritual.
Every year you see the box of wine, and
I get wine poured down my throat as I genuflect in front of them.
I go and I watch the Wild Magnolias come out and sing Indian Red.
All right. Well, yeah, you got me there.
And I go and I watch Zulu.
Whoa, we're already on hour 2.
Oh, fuck. Anyway.
We're going to talk about Fat Tuesday in the next segment.
I thought we already did. But, okay, so the point of this is that Orpheus is a gorgeous parade, and it's, like, fun, but it would be way more fun if you weren't all like, fuck, I gotta get my shit ready for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, but that's a subjective thing. You can't blame Orpheus because that.
I'm
it's
not
a fun
blaming.
parade.
I'm not blaming them for it.
They got great bands.
What I'm saying is that they ought to take them and put them on Tuesday night.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that in the next segment.
Okay, we'll talk about that in the next segment.
I think that's a lame idea.
Okay, well, we'll definitely talk about it then. So let's break again, and all of this is going to get cut, but that's fine. So
no, it's not. You're not getting
cut.
anywhere near this.
All getting cut. It's all getting cut. All right. Boom.